Hi guys, and welcome back, and today we will do the 2020 year in review. Now first up, I just want to thank all my subscribers and everyone who's hopped into the channel and had a look at some of the videos. Didn't start out doing YouTube videos to build a massive subscriber base or have millions of views, and this sort of channel is never going to get that, but it is really rewarding and quite satisfying to get the feedback when you're doing this sort of stuff in isolation, and the family sort of look at me and scratch their heads and think I'm regressing into my childhood. So to have people who are actually interested in the hobby and know what they're talking about and get feedback is really important to me. And I just want to thank you all for using your valuable time to watch my antics, and hopefully you get some enjoyment out of them and perhaps even learn something. So huge thanks to you all. It's made 2020 a more bearable experience, feeling connected to so many different people around the world. And the second thing I want to address is just what a crap year 2020 has been, and I'll only do it this once for the whole video. We've all had to deal with lots of unusual, unexpected, the buzzword over here in Australia is unprecedented challenges and issues. And sadly, that's ranged from, people becoming seriously ill or even passing to just, horrendous economical impacts on families and people being out of work. And look, it's just truly been horrible. And I hope we never have to experience something like this again in the future. So I'm going to choose to be optimistic and say that 2021 will be a much better year. I think it can't be anything but better. And hopefully with the rollout of the various vaccines that are becoming available now, we will, as a planet, get on top of this sort of stuff. And I just hope we take a lesson away from all of this, is that we really do just have to collaborate and cooperate as a species. Think less about self-interest and more about the benefit of collaboration and helping each other out across the planet to get a better planet, and hopefully make it last a bit longer for our children and their children. So that's it, off the soapbox. Let's have a look at what I did this year. So we kicked off early in the year with the build and painting of the German artillery crew for the 88mm diorama, and I had lots of fun putting these guys together. And I know I might have incurred the wrath of a few rivet counters because I painted a little bit unconventionally, and certainly, as I would admit at the time, not necessarily according to Hoyle, but I thought they came out rather well, a little bit dustier than I would have hoped, thanks to that clear coat that I shall never use or name again. But by and large, I think they came out pretty well and contributed to the story of the overall diorama, and I think was a good start to the year. This video also unintentionally created a bit of a fan favourite in the presence of Horse, who was relieving himself in the background, and he got lots of comments, Horse, most of them are favourable, so I can make you a promise that he will certainly appear in some subsequent dioramas as well. So look forward to that and seeing what Horse gets up to. Next up was the Beersheba vignette, I guess, which was my April Fool's Day contribution to society. And that actually started off being a bit of a half-assed project and grew into a far more serious effort. And I actually applied myself and was reasonably happy with the outcome. So celebrating the exploits of Wayne King, a little-known Australian officer in FARC, the first Australian Royal Kangaroos. So lots of fun, got some good comments. It was taken in good humour. I think one or two people thought it was serious and pointed out some of the errors that I had made in the uniform, which I found extraordinarily amusing because it never existed. But all good fun, and kept me out of mischief for a few weeks. Following that, I did the painting and weathering of the Tamiya 135th scale German 88mm gun, a gun from my childhood which I really enjoyed doing again, and I think I probably made a slightly better fist of it this time around than back in 1978. Lots of fun. Again, as you would know if you're a subscriber, I don't necessarily slavishly adhere to exactly everything that's factual. So whacked in a few little extra bits and bobs just for a bit of fun and to make it look a bit more visually satisfying, because quite frankly, I'm the one who has to look at it on the shelf all the time and I want it to look okay. Stretch myself a little bit in some of the additional work that I did on the figures to customize them, but by and large, gun itself was straight out of the box build and reasonably traditional in its painting. And then as lockdown started to grip us, I thought I would do something that might help people fill in some time, which was the beginner's build for the Airfix 1/72nd scale Spitfire. And it's the first time I've built an airplane since coming back into modelling, and I really enjoyed it. So I set myself the challenge to build it with just the stuff that came in the kit and ordered some really basic cheap stuff online, so that anyone could theoretically follow along. I'm not sure how many people did. I know I got a few photos sent in from a couple of viewers. That was just excellent fun, and for my first hit out at building a little aeroplane, I was happy with the results. And the Spitfires are just a beautiful plane. I think they're one of the most elegant planes in history, and it was just a joy to see it come together. Now, I'm not a huge one for doing tutorials. I never really feel comfortable sitting down and filming something and saying this is how you should do it, but I do a couple of this is how I've done it type videos throughout the course of the year. And one of those ones was how to build scale model trees, which was my first real crack at sort of using a combination of natural little branches and seafoam and my magic UV resin glue. And I was happy with the way they came out. That was for the 88mm Dio Base. And so I learned a lot doing that. And I also have come up with some ideas, I think, of how to make trees a little bit more efficiently and robustly, which I'll trot out sometime in 2021. And in a similar vein, I followed that up with how to make a diorama base. And my diorama bases typically follow a very similar pattern in terms of the frame and using foam and das clay to create the ground, some static grass and twigs and bits and bobs and all that sort of stuff. So nothing revolutionary in what I show, but I guess just a reinforcement of the process that I use. And I always hope that someone might find that helpful and go, oh, well, that looks pretty simple. I could be able to have a crack at doing something of a similar nature. Pretty inexpensive to put all that together, with the foam is usually just from packaging that turns up through all the online ordering that happens. A little bit of moulding and a little bit of white glue and some das clay, and you're off and running. Then I did the display stand for the Spitfire, and that was a lot of fun. I had a vague idea. I just wanted it to be slightly elevated from the shelf, so a little bit of a higher box, and as it came together, decided I would do the top with a picture and have it illuminated from underneath, which meant I had to get a little remote control light puck that I could slip in there. And then while I was doing that, I thought I would use the squadron emblem on the front of the box and have that also illuminated. So I was very happy with the way that came out, and intend then to build a number of other iconic fighter planes and have them on similar sort of stands. And I'm looking forward to getting stuck into the next one. And with that in mind, I also asked people who were watching, subscribers, to nominate their favourite fighter planes, and got a quite good response actually. And I was a little bit surprised how that came out. So I don't know why, but I just expected the ME-109 was going to be the next most popular plane, but in fact it wasn't. It was the Corsair, which was a clear second place to the Spitfire by, I think, 4 or 5 votes, which in the context of the total number of votes was about a 10% margin over the one that came third. So this is what will be getting built next. I've got to clear the decks as far as the ZULU Dio and finish off the Haladonian First Encounter Dio, but then I think this is the very next thing I'll do after those two projects are finished. And then I drifted down the Haledonian pathway for a little while, and that started with building the first encounter diorama and the building of the 1/35th scale M26 Pershing from Tamiya, but decking it out with all the Haledonian mods. And that was a lot of fun, and I think aside from the challenges of doing the lighting, which I ended up going a bit bonkers and lighting anything that had a globe in it, in real life got a globe in it in the kit. So I nearly went bonkers doing that, but they all work and they're all discreetly triggered by switches that are hidden under helmets or boxes or panels and the like. So I was happy technically with how that came out. It was a great joy to paint it because it was a completely fictional Haledonian paint scheme, and so I had a little bit of fun with that, and blue's a prominent colour through the Haledonian forces. And again, really well received from subscribers and viewers. Everyone sort of got it, so I think I had one or two comments saying I'd built it wrong, and in fact I had one comment that was criticising the placement of the adaptive camouflage boxes as being in the wrong places on the fenders, which really did make me laugh a lot because they don't exist either, but I always appreciate the feedback and thank that person for watching. So yeah, heaps of fun, and started me going down the rabbit hole a little bit about the history of Haledonia and how they got involved in the Second World War. I followed that one up with how to paint 1/35th scale tank crew, and that was the, again, fictitious uniforms of the Haledonian tank crew for the Pershing, otherwise known as the Dugite in Haledonian forces. And again, that was so much fun. I had to do a little bit of modification of the figures, but they were beautiful figures out of the box. And the painting was, yeah, just a lot of fun. I liked the way the colours played together, the brown leather jackets, the blue shirts or pullovers underneath that. And I thought they fitted in and complemented the vehicle very well. One of the things that happened by accident in doing the figures is that I had the driver taking a photo of something, and that's got me scratching my head about what was he taking a photo of. And in subsequent videos about the history of Haledonia and the entry into World War II, talk about a battle that takes place in where the Germans have pushed forward the farthest, and one Haledonian tank in particular having chalked up 20 kills. Now, that's the media. I'm not sure it was 20 kills, but it did make me realise that I needed another element in that diorama, so there will be a burnt out German tank there as well. And my plan at this stage is to get, I think railway enthusiasts know about these sorts of things, but you can get a little smoker machine, which I plan to bury inside the destroyed tank, and also some flickering red and orange lighting, so that it's smouldering away and a little bit of flames flickering through some of the penetration wounds that will be visible. And this was about the time of the year where I decided to see if I could defy gravity and fly, and I'm here to tell you that I can't. So one broken wrist later and 4 weeks in plaster, nearly going bonkers, sent me down the pathway of starting to share some of the story about the German invasion of the Netherlands and how that forced the Haledonians out into the open after many, many, many years. And that was great fun to do. And what I really enjoyed about it was it forced me to do a lot more research and get into the national archives of a number of different places to find file footage that I could chop up and use to support the storyline. And I also decided to get it professionally narrated by a chap in the UK that I found on Fiverr, and that I think was really good. He did a really great job, and I enjoyed the tone that it brought to the video, and again seemed to be well received by subscribers and viewers alike. A couple of things pointed out that I hadn't got quite right, which is absolutely fine, especially with my weakness in aircraft recognition. You wouldn't want me manning the AA guns because I'd be shooting anything that came within range. But that was good fun and sort of sets a bit of a baseline for the occasional similar type video as the next year unfolds, expanding on that story a little bit. And then I tried my hand at doing a little bit of history teaching about the history of Haledonia and going into some of the background, in particular about Mercator and his map-making abilities and how some of those might have gone where they not necessarily should have gone in the past, but how it helped Haledonia to prepare for any sort of invasion through the Netherlands. Also gave me a chance to try my hand at putting some animated maps together, which was very challenging, but it taught me some new skills, and I'll be the first to admit they are not the smoothest or most professional looking animated maps that have ever been produced, but I think they helped with the story and certainly was useful learning for future endeavours. And once the plaster was off, got back into the 28mm Perry Miniatures ZULU Men of Harlech diorama and revealed the first 12 completed line figures for that, and was really happy with the way they came out. Also been really happy in that I've been able to source a oxen wagon which forms part of the barricade, and that only just recently turned up before Christmas, so I think I have everything I need now to get cracking with that. I have some 3D printing to do with some barrels and some shoulder straps and some ammo boxes and biscuit boxes, which I would hope to get done while I'm on holidays. Should be a productive next couple of weeks, I think, but these figures are beautiful to paint. They're really well moulded. Yeah, it was just great fun to paint with other colours rather than green and brown and grey. So that was about the sum total of my output for the year. Which isn't quite accurate, of course, because I only just put one up a couple of days ago, the 2020 Christmas special, and I won't talk much about that. If you've seen it, you've only seen it in the last couple of days, but that's the 5th year in a row now, and maintaining the tradition is something that I inherently like to do, so there'll be hopefully many more of those to come in future years. So that's it, guys. I was shocked in putting this video together, going through, that I've actually uploaded 25 videos in 2020. I would not have guessed that, and it was good fun to reflect on what I'd actually done. I felt like a bit of a fraud doing this last year because I think I only had about 3 things that I could point out to say that I'd done, so a way more productive year for me. That's a little bit due to lockdown, I guess, and I'm working from home, so those 15 minutes or 20 minutes in between meetings where you might just go and have a coffee or talk crap to somebody in the office, I tend to just pivot around on the table and pick up a paintbrush or a sharp knife. So all in all, very happy with the output and really appreciated the fact that you guys took the time to watch it and comment, and in many cases provide some advice and really positive feedback, and in a number of cases also developed and built on some friendships over the years, and have a number of you guys, and you know who you are, I won't be naming anyone, but who regularly write to me by email and just have a good old natter about all sorts of different things that are happening around the globe. So that's it. 2020, crap year, it's over, moving into 2021, and it will be a great year and a great year for modelling. So as always, thank you for watching. Really appreciate you taking the time to do so. I hope you all have a fantastic New Year's period. New Year's Eve will be, I guess, different again this year due to all the stuff that's going on, but have a few drinks and try and relax and catch up with friends and family, and just forget about any woes that might be upon you at the moment. And let's look forward to 2021 together, and I look forward to bringing you some more videos in 2021 and hearing your thoughts on all that. So take care, and I will literally catch you next year.